course, the president gave the State of the Union last night. It was in the chamber of the United States House of Representatives to the 118th United States Congress. And so many takeaways from that. So many takeaways. It was a sweeping speech. He did what I expected from the standpoint of he laid out the agenda. He made the case. It was a very soft re-election speech. He's trying to test the waters to let folks know he wants to run. There were a lot of things that he laid out. I think that he glossed over some very important issues that I wanted to hear him talk about. But I think all in all, this was a good speech. He touted success as something that you need to do. Talked about some highlights, especially since not a lot of legislation is going to get passed with these Republicans. You know what I mean? They're going to block it. Right? So he laid out some goals. He laid out some goals for the year, calling to ban assault weapons, urging immigration reform, saying that he'd veto any attempt at a federal abortion ban. He seemed awake, seemed alert. Started off a little rocky, stumbled a little bit. That's what we expect from Joe Biden, though, right? We kind of expect that from Joe Biden. I was expecting kind of low energy speech. We could say that. This was not that. This was very entertaining. Very entertaining. Republicans made it easy for Joe Biden. He showed that he was A, the adult in the room. He showed B, that he is a politician and he knows how to handle things. He set traps. It's almost like the rope-a-dope. He baited Republicans in there yelling and screaming and saying stuff. He's having this banter back and forth with them. Banter back and forth, which was really interesting to see. Really interesting to see. Not something that we see too often. Right? And not during the State of the Union. Many Republicans voiced audible dissatisfaction at some of the points that he made in his speech. But that's what happened. It's time for new Republican leadership to get our nation back to the strength and prosperity we had under the Trump and Pence administration. Mike Pence said on Twitter after the speech. What are you talking about? Republican, they were so bad. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who yelled out liar during the State of the Union, called Biden weak. She looked crazy during the speech, had the fur coat on, looking like, what's the lady from the 101 Dalmatians? She looked kind of like that. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you remember, you want to talk about liars. She was, the press secretary for Trump at one time, now the governor of Arkansas. She gave her remarks from Little Rock. And what's so interesting is she was talking about a new generation. It's time for the next generation to take over. Yet she is, making a claim for, Biden is 4 years older than Trump, but they're both old. But hey, Republicans have never been beyond being hypocritical, never been beyond lying. So I don't know. But we saw Biden smiling and offering a very pointed response. He kept his composure. A lot of people would have buckled under that pressure. Now, a majority of Americans will say that Biden hasn't accomplished much. Many Democrats are not thrilled with the thought of him running again. I don't want to see Joe Biden versus Donald Trump too. I don't want to see it. And I'm sure that many Americans don't want to see that as well. Biden powered through, though. He pushed through, delivering what I think is a test run for his reelection announcement. He hasn't made that official, but it seemed to me like that, if there's a reelection speech, if I've ever heard one, that's what it sounds like at the State of the Union. Biden claimed credit for progress that he made during his first 2 years in office, but he did stress that the job is not finished yet. Republicans were unruly, but he had a very spirited debate. But you got to remember, it's very hard to debate with somebody who has a microphone and you don't. They didn't have the microphone. He had the microphone. Oh, but they were feisty. They were petty. They were acting like kids. Speech started off bipartisan. Like they're going to say, oh, he's not being bipartisan. Like Trump was bipartisan. But they'll say, oh, well, he didn't run on bipartisanship. So, I mean, just shut up. No president enters the State of the Union wanting to recite a laundry list of accomplishments, proposals, but it always seems to happen. The speech always seems to go in that direction. I mean, what else is it going to do? Where else could it go? Of course, Biden was no different. He kept saying all night, probably the most said phrase all day was finish the job. He said that a whole bunch of times. Finish the job. Finish the job. We need to finish the job. But it was interesting. I thought that Republicans are normally rude during speeches. You remember, of course, people heckling President Obama during the State of the Union. I mean, just the utter disrespect. Democrats are not disrespectful like that. But here's the thing. The folks that were behind the scenes for President Biden, they were expecting this. Things could not have been written any better for Biden. The White House, I'm sure, thrilled about the back and forth. Oh, you didn't give him commercials. You didn't give him all kind of stuff. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy sat behind Biden, powerless to control his GOP. They don't respect him at all. He was trying to shush them. Nothing. They wasn't listening to him. They were not listening to him at all. But he tried to shush his conference multiple times. But it reminds you just like of a parent, maybe a substitute teacher try to get the kids to be quiet. They don't respect the substitute teacher. That's how Kevin McCarthy came off. Now, Biden set the record for the oldest president to deliver the address to a joint session of Congress. Okay. But, he's going to hold that down because no one older has ever been president. Now, it was vintage Biden. It was vintage Biden. Made some attempts at connecting. He tried. Biden hoped that his speech was going to bridge the gap. It was a pretty long speech, about 70 minutes long. There were some things that he brought up that did surprise me. He focused on very specific issues, eliminating junk fees for consumers and reining in the tech companies and all areas that the White House believes will resonate with Americans who aren't necessarily up on the in and outs of DC. There were many attempts at those that were forgotten. Folks that voted for Trump in 2016 and maybe even 2020. Folks that, fly over country, the regular folks, not the elites, but the regular folks. There were definitely attempts made to kind of talk to those people. And, you would think that Joe Biden naturally would connect with those folks, but he's been in Washington for a long time. He's been in Washington for a long time. There's always going to be a focus on China. Many Republicans are so mad the way that Biden handled the suspected Chinese spy balloon. Shoot it down, shoot it down. He said, this was a big balloon, right? Don't think like some, Wizard of Oz kind of balloon. This was a big, big balloon with a very, uh, just the risk of shooting it down over a residential area. But the Republicans are irresponsible. They're nincompoops. They're idiots for the most part. And they don't even consider these things. They're so clueless that the 3 occasions during the Trump administration when balloons came, they said, we don't even know about that. That's how clueless they are. We're going to listen to y'all. China was included in the text of Biden's speech well before the balloon slipped into American airspace. But make no mistake, Biden said. As we made clear last week, if China threatens our sovereignty, we will act to protect our country, and we did. That's true. We did that. Republicans say that they're looking for a new generation. That would mean that you need to leave Donald Trump in the dust. In the dust. All in all, I think that it was a good speech. Time for a new generation to lead. This is our moment. This is our opportunity. Sarah Huckabee Sanders said that. She's 40, 41, something like that. I would agree with her on that. We do need a new generation. How about this? Can we make a deal? Y'all get rid of Trump and we get rid of Biden? Can you make that deal? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Dominic Hayes Show. Of course, onfire-tv.com. I thought that it was a good speech. It made Biden look energetic. He didn't look old. It made him look like he was game. It made him look like he was up for the challenge. And winning in 2024 will be a challenge.